You're watching ABC7 at 7. We stream here every weekday morning with more weather, original segments, and local royalty. So moments ago, you heard from Miss Bay Area. Now we are going to highlight another crown. Inika Mehra was named Miss San Francisco. You see her there on the right after she was crowned. She is a future doctor. She is also a dancer. She is also a fan of someone I'm a huge fan of. I think, right? Are you still involved in the Instagram world when it comes to Miss Ariana Grande?
You know what? Now that you bring that up,
yeah, okay.
She is such a prominent part of my childhood that I will say I can't forget.
Yeah, no, she's the best.
She is.
Okay.
She is.
I'm glad to hear that, because if you said that she weren't, if you had somehow turned against her, then you'd have to leave immediately. You understand that?
I know. I would never do that to you.
So when we were talking to Miss Bay Area, she said that this was actually her first competition, and then she just came in and swept it. Were you a pageant person growing up?
This was the most out of my comfort zone thing I could ever think of doing.
Really?
I was actually in the car a year ago today, and I was telling her I want to do something groundbreaking in women's health, but I want to be a Bollywood actress. There is no way I could do both. I told her as a joke I would have to become Miss World or something big. And I said as a complete joke, and I got sent something I call a divine trigger. Ooh. I call this an uncomfortable nudge to push you to do something you normally wouldn't. This was not on my horizon, not in my comfort zone. And you know what? It was the perfect combination for me to advocate for a cause that's so important to me, Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome, and be a creative and be a healer at the same time.
So I'll get into some of that in just a second, but first I want to know about this divine push.
Yes.
Were you actually pushed? Like, were you walking down the street and you said, "Gah," or what was that moment? I mean, like, how did you think, okay, I could do this? You know, what gave you the confidence?
I didn't have the confidence. What gave me the confidence is going out of my comfort zone and doing something unbelievably hard for me. I've struggled with confidence from a very young age. I grew a beard at age 11. I experienced hair loss, cystic acne, chronic fatigue syndrome, all symptoms that I now know are from polycystic ovarian syndrome. Confidence did not come easy for me. I struggled in my South Asian identity. So what I used to think that confidence was innate. You either have it or you don't. What I've learned is that confidence comes from doing hard things and doing hard things out of your comfort zone.
I want to talk to you about the diagnosis that you got. So obviously it took some time to get to an answer. When did you finally get to that answer?
16.
When you were 16 years old, which is also such a hard time to get news like that.
Yes. I was in high school. It was incredibly tough on my self-esteem, but more importantly, looking back now, it is everything that it has taught me. It's about polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is my community service initiative. PCOS
And what is that, just for people who don't understand?
Yes, so it is a metabolic, reproductive, cardiovascular, and psychological endocrine disorder. You could call it a hormone disorder. Okay. So it's more easily digestible.
And is this something that can be solved by medicine?
Here's the thing. As part of my platform, I advocate for integrative awareness. So I'm a featured speaker at women's health panels and events to educate on stress management, on holistic means of medicine. And when you are trying to find these holistic modalities, they're not covered under insurance. Right. Medical doctors could only really provide birth control. That's not covered. That is covered, but
all the
modality, I have to go look for it outside.
Right. Yeah, that is really tough.
Yeah.
And that's what you're working on,
yes,
which is really special.
Yes.
You just graduated from undergrad, right?
Yes,
was it last year?
UC Irvine, September.
And so are you going to be applying now for, I don't know if you're going to go right into medical school or do something else before that, but is that a process you're in right now for grad school?
Yes, so I have a vision to transform PCOS Alliance into a mind-body wellness retreat center. So for that, I have a vision of an MBA or an MPH or some kind of combination.
Got it.
So I have the credibility to teach others the mind-body connection.
So you really are up for the challenge.
Yes.
Because none of these things is easy, obviously. But look at you, you're doing it. In June, you're going to be entering into the statewide competition for Miss California. So at this point, I was going to ask you if you're nervous, but I don't know how you could be. I mean, you've jumped into all of these things, as you say, you know, against your own sort of self-consciousness and have really succeeded. So I don't anticipate that you should be nervous going into June. You should walk in there and own that place.
You know what? I am nervous, but I know that pushing back against the anxiety and the fear and the self-doubt is the only thing that will give me confidence, regardless of the outcome.
Love that. This has been very inspirational.
Thank you. You
Yeah,
too.
I feel like going out there and doing something that I can't do, which is almost everything.
That's a limitation.
That is a limitation, you're right. I need to cancel can't. Thank you so much for coming and talking to us.
Thank you for having me.
Good luck on everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
In June, we'll be watching to see what happens in Miss San Francisco. Do us
I'm
proud, all
excited.
right?
I will. I will do you very proud.
You already
as much
are.
as I can.
And we'll be right back.